Hey, it's Craig with OB Wheelworks. Back on the mounting of these three-piece Hutchinson wheels. We're going to show you our assembly process and just how easy it is. The first step is going to be to lubricate the bead on the tire all the way around, just like you would mounting any other wheel and tire assembly. Make sure to get a good amount of lube on there. You're going to lube both sides, top and bottom, just like normal. Another step that's super helpful is to go ahead and lube the wheel. Also, lube on the tire and lube on the wheel. This is a double beadlock, so you don't have to worry about too much lube. It's not going to slip. The tire's not going to slip on the wheel after you have it mounted. Take your tire, make sure to line up your air channel on the beadlock with the valve stem on the wheel. So we're putting that air channel directly in line with the valve stem. And then just work the tire down onto the wheel. Make sure it's seated flat. Here at OB Wheelworks, we do a lot of these Hutchinson dual beadlock wheel and tire assemblies. So we worked with a local fabrication shop to build a press just for this process. You can do it at, just right on the ground without a press. The Hutchinson wheels have 4 threaded M18 threaded holes on the wheels, so you can use bolts, long bolts, to draw it together and get your beadlock bolts started. So we'll show you a little bit about that in a second. Always, when you're working on these, you want to replace the O-ring, put a new O-ring in there. It's really good to make sure that that channel is clean for the O-ring. Make sure there's no debris in there that's going to tear the O-ring or nick the O-ring. Make sure you get it sitting in the channel all the way around before you put the top or the front half of the wheel on. Then grab your ring, take your ring and line the valve stem up. There's a notch cut out here for the valve stem. You got to make sure it goes directly in line. And you want to get the wheel centered, or you want to get the rim half centered as good as you can over the studs. Now this is where, if you're doing it with bolts manually, you're going to put your bolt through with washers, a stack of washers that are greased. You want to grease every one of those washers really good, top and bottom. Put your bolt through. You need about a 6-inch bolt. These holes are threaded all the way through the wheel, so your bolt can run through the wheel. It's not a problem. But we've got these guides that we built to guide the ring on and make sure it goes on straight over the studs. So it's the same process, we just have a press to put it together instead of bolts. Okay. On our press, you want to make sure it's lined up. It's not going to hit any of the studs. Watch your fingers. Then you're just going to pull the wheel in, making sure that your O-ring is seated all the way around before you pull it down. Watching all fingers. There we go. It's enough to start our nuts. There you go. Make some nuts. The press is kind of like cheating, but when you're doing a lot of these assemblies, it's absolutely necessary. If you're doing a set at home, in your garage, or in a normal tire shop, doing them on the floor with the bolts is fine. Hang on. Then we're going to hit a couple of these. We're not hammering them down, we just want to hit a couple of them where we can let the pressure off of our press. Then we're going to back our press off and remove this where we can work. I'm going to go ahead and install the rest of the nuts. And once these nuts are installed, you know, it's just like installing the wheel on a vehicle. You want to do it in a star pattern to draw it down evenly. So just remember where you start. Work your way around. Notice we're not hammering them down. Once you get all the bolts installed, all of the nuts installed, then you're going to go back and torque all of these bolts to 200 foot-pounds before you air the tire up. Then we'll air the tire up, check for leaks. If there are any leaks, obviously reverse the process and figure out why it's leaking. Most likely you have trash between the wheel halves if it's leaking, or your O-ring might have come out of the groove that it sits in. So that's all there is to it.